What for most people is art, others might consider it garbage. What is garbage? Make sure to place it in its right container, and what for most people is garbage, well, others might see the hidden beauty in it. Today, I belong to the second group. As many of you, my beloved viewers, know, my channel is a democracy, when it's convenient to me, of course, but you guys vote for the best 15 episodes per season, and Patterns of Force got only less than 3 votes. What was it? The allegory? The botched chronology? The lipstick? The nuts? Wait, can I say the word Nazi on YouTube? I don't know, it's kind of a gray area here. We risk it? Nah, you already got enough videos demonetized. Ah, shit. You know what? I'm not gonna risk it. But I promise I'll do my best trying to understand how bad was this episode. What makes Patterns of Force unique is that it portrays one of the darkest periods of our modern history, the Holocaust. And because of it, this episode was banned from German television until 1995. And this episode was the reason why this beauty quit acting altogether. The side characters of Patterns of Force are, in my opinion, some of the best reunited in a single episode. They have depth, charisma, good looks, and intention. Look at Isaac, the young Sion prisoner, or Daras, the beautiful conscious trader, or Enoch, the handsome taciturn chairman, who are all willing to risk their lives to save a planet from extinction. The location choices again get a 10 out of 10 like many other undervoted episodes, but this time the production redecorated the offices at Paramount Pictures, which look classy and badass, and for the underground scenes they used the same sets from The Devil in the Dark. Then why did it get less than 3 votes? We'll see. But wait, before I continue, remember you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. You can also like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to support the creation of more videos like this and you want to watch the full reaction to Patterns of Force, uncut, uncensored, and ads-free, you can become a patron or a YouTube member. I will leave all the links in the description box below. So, okay. The Enterprise is traveling to Ekos, a somewhat primitive planet searching for John Gills, this guy, a historian from Earth that has cut all communication with the Federation 6 months back. There's another neighboring planet called Sion in this area. With only 80 seconds of exposition, we learn that Ekos has sent a very advanced rocket with detection devices and
seems to be carrying a warhead.
1 minute they're playing sticks and stones, and the next, bam, nukes on deck. Fortunately, a thermonuclear warhead stands no chance against the Enterprise phasers, and they blast the shit out of it. But now, how can a primitive planet get such an advanced weapon? Are the Klingons sneaking advanced weapons again? I don't know, maybe.
Maybe they had help.
So, this guy was supposed to observe and somehow he accidentally forgot some nuclear blueprints in the loo? I don't know. We get the intro, and then the scriptwriter looked at his watch and realized that he only had 80 seconds of exposition, so he chooses to add more. That's how we learn that Ekos is a world-like planet in anarchy and it should be technologically primitive, whereas Sion is a more technologically advanced and peaceful planet. So Kirk decides to beam down to Ekos and instruct Vones to administer a
subcutaneous transponder.
A what?
A subcutaneous transponder.
What? You don't remember subcutaneous transponders? They're right over there next to the psychotricorders under the DCS-EP category, or the devices that can solve every plot category. Or I don't know, maybe after leaving the Galileo 7 to their own devices, lose the chance to avoid 2 fights and being trapped by Trelane and Dr. Corby, a bunch of kids, a crazy doctor, an old-fashioned cult, warmongering politicians, spores with a beehive intelligence, 3 seemingly primitive civilizations, and 3 colorful brains. Now, Kirk thought it would be a good idea to take precaution. I don't know, I'm trying to help the script here. So they land on Ekos and they see this kid who immediately warns them to hide. As they do so, we finally see what this episode is gonna be about. The boots, the uniform, This kid just got captured by Nazis. The scriptwriter looks at his watch again, and there's still not enough exposition, so this random screen starts broadcasting propaganda in the middle of this empty street in perfect English.
Attention. Attention.
Yes, a planet that replicated the Nazi Germany did it in English. Should I pay too much attention to that? Well, I don't know, even Wolfenstein tried. During this expositional ad, we learn that Ekos is exterminating Scions, and despite the slim chances of developing a culture so identical to Nazi Germany being close to none, they have actually taken this word up to space. And they also, and very conveniently, show a clip of Daras, a beautiful hero, and this guy who for some reason is there. And then they close the ad with boom! The Führer is the very John Gill himself, the asshole. That shameless bastard, instead of observing the planet, he kept violating the Prime Directive and was building his own Reich. He kept everything exactly the same, except for the language, because learning German would have been too difficult for him, but the scriptwriter looks at his watch again, and now it's time to let the story continue. So they are discovered by a soldier who's quickly subdued with a karate chop. Spock takes the soldier's uniform and they continue their search for John the Führer Gill. They come across a higher ranking officer who, in perfect English, asks Spock about his prisoner Kirk. Spock works his magic touch on the officer, and now Kirk has a very stylish disguise. But like I said, I'm looking for the beauty in this episode, and I'll say it's been only 8 minutes and a half, and the episode is engaging, despite their expositional parts that at least one of them was well crafted. And I gotta say, Paramount Pictures had very beautiful offices back in the 60s. They look very Nazi. As they approach the entrance, they meet a major and they almost get away with it. But they are discovered and sent to prison. In prison, they are tortured and later interrogated, and that's when we meet Chairman Enoch, or Gene, like his mama used to call him. He seems interested in their weapons and wants to interrogate them personally. They are placed in a cell next to Isaac, the young Scion who warned them to hide. What time is it, you ask? Well, time for more exposition. And Isaac tells them how Scions were well liked before, but only a few years ago, the Ekosians began to persecute Scions, which coincides with John Gill's arrival. That bastard. In order to get their weapons and communicators back, they need to get out of that cell. And now they come handy. You know it. You feel it. The subcutaneous transponders, the device that should solve everything, but just like the Psycho Tricorder, we never see it being properly used. But how? Well, they just need the rubidium crystal in the transponders to create a laser, obviously, so they'll just need this piece of metal as a scalpel. Wait, you mean this piece of metal that has been under this germs-absorbing mattress that accommodated countless of humanoids that were arrested and most likely injured and infected? This is what we're gonna use to cut our skins, and on top of all that, we're gonna share it? Alright.
Are you trying to kill yourselves?
I don't know, kid, it seems so. They extract the crystals and MacGyver a new holder for the crystals, and they finally open the gate. They trick the guard outside and Spock work his magic touch again, and they take the young Scion as a guide. They walk through the passages of this Nazi holdout and trick yet another guard, and Kirk steals his keys. Nazis? More like not seas. This soldier, for some reason, is not a complete idiot and realizes that the keys are missing, so he goes back to the office and oh, are you kidding me? Are you telling me this is their absolute weakness? Hide behind a wall? Hide behind a door? Is it the helmets that interfere with their peripheral vision? What? I don't know. I'm trying to help here. Isaac leads them to his hideout, and that's where we meet Isaac's brothers Abram, who informs Isaac that his fiancée just had a terrible death. Casual. Do we see a tear? No, because Isaac is not only brave, he's tough. Spock manages to Frankenstein one communicator, which won't be in use until an hour later, and while they're talking, another boom! They are ambushed by an enemy patrol commanded by none less than Daras, the young hero herself. Now, did you know that Valora Nolan, who portrayed Daras and whose parents fled Nazi Germany, was told that her uniform didn't include the swastika, but the day of the shooting, there it was. She was so offended by this that she quit acting entirely. And what a shame, because she clearly was a gifted actress. Look at that sweet, psychotic smile, and holy shit, Daras, take it easy, you adorable, crazy psycho. But Kirk has dated Psycho before. Remember the conscience of the king, that crazy bitch? So worry not, he turns the tables around and the ruse is over because plot twist, Daras is actually a traitor of the Nancy regime. I knew it, you can't be the bad guy with such a beautiful face. The scriptwriter almost forgets to look at his watch and decides it's expositional time again. Turns out that Daras' father was also a deliberate traitor. Remember that decoration we saw earlier? Well,
Decoration was for betraying my own father to the party.
oh shut up, Spock, it's not like you get along that well with your dad. Well, Papa Daras was close to the Führer, or John Gill, whatever, and when he saw the changes, he turned against the party. So Melican sentenced him to death. Alright, now, it's her turn to continue... Who? Who? Oh, that guy! I knew he got a close-up for a reason. And this is where the episode starts tripping over its own inconsistencies like a drunk Klingon at a diplomatic banquet. So, John Gill looks like he's 70, but it's the 60s, so he's probably 38. I know, don't yell at me. This show said this Huggle cosplayer was 41, so sip it. Even if he had spent the last 50 years on Ekos, how do you explain such a rapid technological and cultural evolution? Spock, can you remind me?
The Ekosians are primitive, warlike people in a state of anarchy.
Thank you. So, how? The system, the propaganda, the technology, the uniforms, all in 50 years tops? How? Well, easy. Not only did he have nuclear blueprints in his suitcase, he also had a copy of Orwell's Animal Farm, schematics for all World War II German weapons, and a full crate of McCall's patterns because those uniforms look slick. I said I'm trying to help the script here. And in all these years, aside from Papa Daras, no one else thought this was a bit of an overwhelming change? All Ekosians managed to learn all that in what, 2 generations? They figure out how to manufacture their own weapons, rockets, cars, cameras, lamps, clothes, a sewage system, while organizing an entire planet in anarchy. And you know how easy anarchies are to organize. Into a totalitarian regime. And they even had time to make these pretty velvet curtains. But anyway, Kirk tells the group who they really are and makes a plan so they can infiltrate the Ekosian headquarters and speak to John Gill. So they arrive in a car that God knows how they got, with film equipment, an absolute must-have in all sea and survival kits, and using Daras as a decoy, they manage to go all the way into the main office. Turns out that nobody sees John Gill, but they use another screen at the end of the room to hear his speeches. Since the broadcast room is guarded, Kirk creates another ruse to get close. Distracting the guards with Daras, Spock manages to peek through a gap, and I don't know, you might want to change the batteries on that dude cause he looks a bit pale. Kirk and Spock contact the Enterprise since it's been over an hour since they fixed the comms and order McCoy to beam down in a Nazi colonel's uniform so he can check on John Gill, but this communication is picked up by the Ekosians and now they're looking for them. McCoy beams down to Ekos and they are all shortly discovered by Enoch, you beautiful German you. And the scriptwriter clearly describes himself when
The colonel's drunk.
and Enoch buys it?
Do not understand how he failed to recognize us.
Nor do I.
Mysterious indeed. The speech is about to begin and we finally see John Gill in camera, speaking.
The job ahead is difficult. It requires courage and dedication.
Did you know that human beings need over 100 muscles to speak? 100 muscles! Not C's.
Half a century.
Watch his mouth.
Yes, Kirk, it's obvious.
His speech follows no logical pattern.
Random sentences strung together.
Star Trek, predicting modern Hollywood since the 1960s. McCoy believes that John Gills is drugged, but he needs to take a closer look, so they all go back to the guarded room and... Those stupid helmets. They make their way into the office and find John Gill, who's doing his best sausage impression. McCoy gives him some stimulants, but they're not strong enough. Meanwhile, this other asshole is giving his speech and announces that a massive extermination has just begun. Science now have only 1 hour to live. Thank goodness the Enterprise took 6 months to notice his disappearance, otherwise we wouldn't have an episode. Since the stimulants were not strong enough, it's now Spock's time to work with John Gill's mind, and he leaves him in a state where he can at least reply to questions. But we also learn that, boom, plot twist, Melican is the real mastermind behind the massacre. Wait, am I supposed to feel sorry about John Gill? It's kinda late for that, isn't it? Finally, the script dares to ask 2 very important questions.
Why did you interfere with this culture?
And
Why Nazi Germany?
John Gill explains that Nazi Germany was an efficient state. You know, aside from the whole genocidal dictatorship thing, he figured, hey, maybe if I just take the efficiency and leave out the atrocities, I can unify this fractured planet. Great plan, John. Totally foolproof. And for a while it worked, until Melican slithered in, took over, and turned Gill into his personal drugged-up puppet. The man is so fried that he can barely answer basic questions, let alone stop a full-blown massacre. Before they can figure out their next move, a guard approaches. But don't worry, Kirk, ever the improviser, immediately spins a story that they just stopped Spock from assassinating the Führer, John Gill. And wouldn't you know it, beautiful, gullible Enoch buys it. Without hesitation, he listens to everything these 3 random strangers tell him, despite the fact that he just saw them incarcerated just a few hours ago. So they take Spock away to punish him, and bam! 3rd plot twist. Enoch is also a traitor. Now, okay, so you've got a high-ranking chairman and a decorated war hero, guys with access to the most sensitive areas of the regime, and you also have a Scion resistance, and they couldn't get past a couple of extras that any Ekosian kid could take down if they sneak up from behind? Yeah, Ekosians aren't very bright, are they? They bring Spock to Melican and for some reason just leave this total stranger alone with the Führer. Sure, whatever. Kirk, never one to shy away from questionable medical practices, risks injecting Gill with yet another stimulant before trying the Vulcan mind whammy. And wouldn't you know it, it actually works. Melican, what did you put this man on? Meanwhile, Melican treats us to a magnificent lecture on how to become a racist asshole by mocking Spock's features. They're just about to drag him away when, right on cue, Kirk forces John Gill to speak to the camera and order the Ekosians to stand down. He also says that
We were betrayed. Melican is a traitor to his own people.
Oh, but Melican is not just gonna stand there and let this happen, so he storms over to the other side of the recording booth and sprays some lead on John Gill. Out of nowhere, Isaac jumps and avenges the Führer. Yeah, that's a sentence I just wrote.
The non-interference directive is the only way.
John, do you know who you're talking to? This is James Screw the Prime Directive Kirk. Anyway, John Gill, the Führer, gets demoted from alive to dead, and now both Scions and Ekosians finally know the truth and can start fixing their planets. In the end, we're left pondering how even a great man like John Gill, despite his best intentions, can make monumental mistakes once he gets absolute power. But what do you think? Is the perfect regime ever possible? Was the allegory a little too on the nose? Would you name your child Enoch? Let me know in the comments box below. So, did you like the video? Don't forget to vote for your 15 favorite episodes of Star Trek Season 3 in the comments. The most voted episodes will get a reaction video right here on YouTube, but if you want to see them all, head over to my Patreon. Thanks for watching, God bless, and bye-bye.